Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Bioshock Survivor Difficulty Brass Balls walkthrough. This is the final part of Fort Frolic, and we're still wandering around, not quite knowing where we're meant to be going. So I do apologise for this, guys, but it does give me an opportunity to talk, even though we're officially at the point now where it's less about strategies that I can impart on you, and it's more about talking about random things, as a spider splicer spawns and does her patented jump attack into cartwheel, into triple backflip, spin, toss, breakneck, like something out of Death Becomes Her, which is a great film if you haven't seen it, really funny. So we're going to be moving back through the snowy area, or the icy area is probably a better way of saying it, and on the other side of this is a whole other part of this area. And my one criticism of this level is, why does it take the arrow away? And originally when I played Bioshock, I never used to put the arrow on because I didn't want to know where the game wants me to go. I wanted to just go myself, and I always played that way. But now, it's been 10 years, you know, it's been close to 10 years since I had those experiences, and I've become very pampered when it comes to gaming. I like to have a good idea where the game expects me to go, so I can go to the places where it's not pointing, and I don't realise how much I rely on it until it's not there. And I recently played Banjo-Kazooie, and I just finally got all the achievements on it and finished it. And that game is a nightmare at times, an absolute nightmare, because it's just a game from a different time. And I am amazed that I was able to have the patience to do things in that game when I was younger. And it's a testament to just how different games were. And maybe primer guides or something, because I sure as shit didn't have the internet, so I don't know how the fuck I did it. But I got everything in that game, and doing it again was just not fun for me. I really didn't enjoy it. I like the game still. I think it's a fine game. I think it's a great game for its time. But there were parts of that game that were really fucking me off. Like, really, really annoying. Just the simple shit like the hub world. I remember the hub world being really, really good. And just, you know, making the game, making it interesting, how it all synced up and linked together. It doesn't. It's a fucking maze. It's a maze. It's obtuse. It gives you no hints. Like, it's it's back when you had to figure shit out, dude. And my god, did you have to figure shit out? It took me forever. It doesn't make sense. Like, there were so many times when I wanted to look on the internet. It wasn't even funny because I just couldn't get my brain around what was expected of me, and it was always something really eclectic, and it's stuff that, you know, you just don't see in games now. Like, one of the ones that I got stuck on a lot was there's breakable objects in the game, but they don't communicate to the player that you can break them because they look the same as the fucking textures. So it was one of those things where you got to the point where you were testing every texture because you didn't know if it was a breakable port to go into a place. And it's all because of the technology and the restrictions. And it's just that thing of, like, when you found it, you're like, oh my goodness, as if I would have ever found that. But you did. And that's what games used to be like. Nowadays, you don't find anything because it's just not required of you. And if it is breakable, it sticks out like a sore thumb. And there's a lot of quality to that, but there's also something to be said about finding those moments for yourself. And I think we should toe a fine line between the two extremes. There were parts of Banjo where you would do something and it would reap a reward, and it was the last thing on the earth that you thought was going to give you anything, and it gave you something. And I think that that's a wonderful design. But there were also times when you just kind of felt like you had no idea what it expected of you, you had no idea where to go, and you were walking around having no idea, and it's not fun anymore, that. It used to be a lot of fun because that's what games were, you know. But now, we're so used to achieving our goals in games and having a goal laid out for us that when we don't feel like we're pushing towards anything, we don't feel like we're doing anything. And that is just a product of how gaming has changed. So I don't necessarily think it's a bad or a good thing. I just think it's what it is at the moment. It's the culture of gaming. So it doesn't do as well. And it's funny how, you know, people were comparing Recore to things like Ratchet and Clank, Jak and Daxter, a little bit of Banjo-Kazooie in there, because it was kind of harking back to those old school platformers. But you never not knew what you were doing in Recore. Recore had those gameplay moments of intricate platforming and, you know, fun, colourful, collectathon-esque moments. This is another exclusive splicer, by the way. That's why my crossbow does no damage. Because this dude is incredibly strong. Be very careful too, he is a nitro splicer, he will throw them behind him. And they do more damage than you think. And always be aware that spider splicers can turn up and ruin any potential encounter. Because 2v1 is a bad situation in Bioshock on Survivor. But Recore, you know, it had the old with the new. And ukulele, you can bet your ass when ukulele comes out, there's going to be a couple of throwbacks to old-time gaming, but for the most, you're going to have an idea of what to do. And even back in the days when Banjo-Kazooie was new, games gave you an idea of what to do. And it was an example of better game design, as I'm reloading like an addict here at the moment. But I think back to Mario 64, I was wondering why Banjo was frustrating me so much and why Mario wasn't. And it's down to the fact that at the beginning of the level on Mario, it gave you a clue. And that clue is really important when you think about it, because it's the only thing you have to go by. And a lot of the times, it showed you what part of the level to look in. And I think if Banjo had something like that, then it would have probably been a lot less stressful. But it didn't. And there were moments where you just... like, if you found that shit, good on you, because it was really well hidden. And I think they did a great job of giving you breadcrumbs, but not being overt with them, to the point of, I didn't have a fucking clue. Like, it really, really humbled me. And it was an interesting moment of, I'm always very critical of myself and my younger self when it comes to gaming. I always just assumed I sucked. Like, games were hard because I was bad at them, and I wasn't, you know, mature and intelligent enough to realise how to get good. But it just turns out that games were different in a lot of cases, and you were probably pretty good at them. Just not good enough, which is something I think we can all relate to. But there's another photo. I think there's one dude left, and then we can get out of Fort Frolic. But there's probably a bunch more bouncers. There's a spider splicer just chilling on the roof. I don't know if I fully researched it, but I don't seem to be doing any photography. And I'm doing really good damage with the Tommy gun. There's the daddy. So, time to get your photos, time to save up, and I think I'm going to show you the loop now, guys. So this is what you should be doing against every elite or every bouncer. Hit them once with an electric book, swap to the crossbow, hit them with the crossbow, swap to the shotgun, electric book to stun them, crossbow to damage. You can use grenade launcher if you're out of crossbows. And there will come a point where both your crossbow and your shotgun don't have any ammunition in them. So you have to stun him with an electric book and then reload your shotgun. Stun him with an electric book, then reload your crossbow. And always get distance from the daddy, because if you get distance, he will do the rush attack, which you can sidestep. And that's all we're going to do. I'm going to swap back to the shotgun, I'm going to stun him, I'm going to reload the shotgun, I'm going to stun him again, I'm going to put the crossbow on, I'm going to hit him with the crossbow, shotgun, stun, crossbow, hit, shotgun, stun. When I need to reload, get some distance, bait the lunge attack, hopefully don't get hit by the swipe is so dangerous. But do you see how fast he recovers? There's the dash. Don't know how he was able to get all that momentum, but there you go. Physics. There's the stun, there's the reload, baiting the dash, there's the stun. There's the hit. He's going to dash. Oh no, there's the stun. There's the hit. And that's all you do, guys. Keep this steady momentum, keep this steady pace, and you will embarrass these big daddies. Doesn't work as good on the Rosies, because the Rosie can attack you from a distance. But on the bouncers, there's nothing they can do if you do it correctly. At any point there, when I was reloading, if he got too close, I was in danger. If any of those running attacks hit me, I was in danger. It can go bad really quick, but if you do it correctly, you will destroy them, and it's so effective. And as you can hear, there's another big daddy, so we might be displaying it again. But he doesn't have a little sister, so I'll take a few pictures, and maybe we can let him go. But I can't stress how good that is. Another really, really good solution for the big daddy problem, as I get ambushed there by the spider splicer, is to use the electric gel on the chemical thrower, because the electric gel, not only does it stun the big daddy, but it does decent damage while it's stunning him, and you can use it to take off about half his life if you've got a full tank. And that's not bad, considering you're not in danger when you do it. So it's really good for finishing them off, it's really good for getting some breathing room and thinking about your plan of attack. I can't recommend it enough. But the electric book into damage, into stun, is just such a good strategy for the melee-focused big daddies that I couldn't not show it. And Is he going to get another... So we're fighting, unfortunately. He just signed his own death warrant. Additionally, there is an achievement and a trophy for saving all the big sister, the little sisters, sorry. And you can check by on the pause menu to see how many of the sisters you've saved in the level, because it shows you how many there is, and if they're with big daddies and the such. So, if you do all of them, you will get an achievement or a trophy. I think I miss a few, because at the end I don't... Well, look how fast that is. This dude covers some serious ground when he wants to. And I do not have a fully reloaded shotgun, because I have not been clever. I have not started this fight with the right resources, which is a big mistake. But his pathfinding and his weird vibromatic mode enable me to get some quick hits on him while he's doing his fancy animations, and then I'm going to proceed to do the loop. Now we need to be careful because he's getting kind of close, so you want to at least put you in a wall between you two. And the reload here is going to put me in a bad spot, but I knew he was going to dash, so I dodge it. There's the stun. There's the crossbow, which I missed, which is terrible. There's the crossbow again. That stunned him, which is really useful. That stunned him again. And that killed him. So there you go. 2 big daddies in a row. Did I get touched? I don't think I did. And it is effective. It's just... It's intense, I'll say that much. There are moments where it gets a little close, but that's just to add its difficulty for you. And I mentioned on one of the other videos that I wonder if Bioshock 2 had a survivor mode, and then a few people mentioned that it would be really, really difficult because of the way that that game is, because that game is way more action-orientated than this one. But I still think that it would be doable, because in that game you are very powerful, and there are moves in that game that make it very simple. Like, I think the insects in Bioshock 2 are one of the most overpowered aspects of it, because once you upgrade it, you can keep people permanently stunned so that you never get attacked, and it's kind of ridiculous. And you have a lot of tools in that game, mini turrets, all kinds of crazy stuff. Plasmids and guns at the same time to do shock and hit combos at the same time. Like, you have a lot of interesting tools at your disposal. I'm probably going to break this and fill up on the medkits. Yeah, that makes sense. Something you should always be doing, by the way, folks. You're never going to come back to Fort Frolic unless you're looking for collectibles at the end of the game. So you might as well break all the medpack stations so that you can take as many as you can into the next mission. I like to finish the missions with as many packs as I can get, because you never know what's, the next ambush that's waiting for you might be the one that kicks your ass. And as much as I don't think you're going to have too much trouble with the rest of the game if you can get this far, there's always the opportunity that you can have a rough moment, and death comes quickly in this game. If you've not saved and you've turned the vita chambers off, you revert back to an old save, you can lose a lot of progress, and there's nothing worse. I have had a save glitch recently with this game. So I've been going back through trying to get Historian by getting all the audiobooks, or the audio logs or whatever. And I did all of Arcadia up to the Fisherman's Market. And then I saved it and I turned it off and I did something else. And I came back another day and that save doesn't work now. Every time I try and load it, it doesn't work. It says there's something wrong. And I can't fix it. So I have to go back to the beginning of Arcadia. And I really don't want to fucking do it now. Like, I don't know if you ever get that on games where you're really enjoying it and then something fucks you and it kills your desire to play. And that's what it's done. Like, as soon as I get past Arcadia, I would be back to having super fun, but I really don't like Arcadia. It's one of those levels that I think lasts too long. I don't enjoy it, and it's really put me off playing it. It's put me off playing it so much, I haven't touched Bioshock in about a week now. And I have to get a few more achievements before I can install the next ones, because my hard drive's super full, which is fucking annoying, but it is what it is. So instead, I've been playing Hitman. And I've been playing a lot of Hitman. I've been having a ton of fun with Hitman. But Hitman's another game that does the same thing. Like, I saved the other day on Hitman and I crashed and it crashed. And then I turned it on and it crashed. Then I turned it on and it crashed. Like, what the fuck? I wait for it to load, it crashes. I wait for it to load, it crashes. Like, why? Oh, by the way, Sander goes a bit nuts now, and he sends a bunch of splicers your way. If you stay on the staircase, every single splicer will run at you via the staircase, and you can just use telekinesis to put them down. Right then was a mistake on my behalf. If I'd have just stuck with my guns, they wouldn't have got that close, and I wouldn't have had a body behind a guy in my face, which is a nightmare. I love the music here, though. It's a really great touch. Probably get copyright, strike to some bullshit, but it really, really... When I was doing this, I was having fun. In fact, the first run, because I died here, was way better, because I was on the ground floor, just running around, dancing, throwing bodies, and it was a super sexy, awesome moment, and then I got trapped against a wall and killed, which is a bit annoying. Because I did the thing where I pulled a body, and the body pulled behind the splicer, so I couldn't get it to throw it at him, and he just hit me a few times, and by the time I'd recovered, I was really low, and his buddy hit me. But they all run for you via the stairs, so you have this daisy chain of death, and it's incredibly effective, it's monstrously effective, and we're in what, like stage 8 at this point? Stage 7? And we're ruining fools with the same technique we used at the beginning of the game, and it's just as effective. The only people who seem to get a resilience towards it are the leadheads for whatever reason. I find it funny too. Why is it only the leadheads who get that upgrade? Do you think it's a glitch? Do you think it's something that got tweaked and they didn't realise it was tweaked? Because nobody else gets a boost, except the ones with the gun. I don't get it. And I'd love to know why. Because it does seem weird. It seems kind of out of place. And it wouldn't bother me if everybody got a boost, because then it would be uniform and it'd make sense. But you'll come up against a splicer who you'll put down in a second, and then you'll come up against the next splicer who you can't put down. And it feels jarring. That's one of the problems with it. Like, games can have bullet sponge enemies. You know, it's fine if everyone's a bullet sponge. But if it's just one or two dudes, then you really feel how much you have to put in them. And I hate it when I realise that I'm shooting a guy for longer than I want to be shooting him. I've just recently gone back to Gears of War 3. And Gears is a very bullet sponge heavy game. But it's also a game that has massive clips and active reloads. And active reloads make short work of spongy enemies. And that's what balances Gears. That's what makes Gears still fun. The fact that if you get that reload, you will put that locust down with your Lancer really quick. And I loved that. I just loved the fact you could do it. And I've been playing the early parts of that game, and it's a lot of fun. I really do like the arcade mode in that game. I just wish there was more to it. Because I like scoring in games. I don't think enough games have scores. It was one of the things I've been really enjoying about Hitman. Hitman has leaderboards, and although I completely disagree with them, I love chasing score. I love seeing, like, I did one of the escalation maps the other day, and I did a kind of a messy strategy, but I ended up getting what I needed to do. So I was like, I'll check the leaderboards. I was second in the world of everybody who'd done it, and I was like, wow, I can do that so much cleaner. And just the idea of hunting that first place and squeezing those extra points got me excited. And it means nothing in the grand scheme of things, but it's a fun thing to see your name on those boards. And then I did the next one, and I was like, oh, that's another shit score. 8th in the world. You know, one of them 17th in the world. I was like, oh yeah. You know, it's just a fun thing. And the scoring in Hitman's broken. It's fundamentally broken. It rewards bad play over, you know, true mastery, and I find that upsetting. And I should start a Twitter campaign to tweet at IO every day and get like every follower to do the same, to get them to change it so that skill supersedes bullshit. I'm sick of watching these fucking videos of dudes knocking everybody out, sticking them in bins, and getting better scores than me when I don't knock anyone out. That is upsetting. Really upsetting. But it's just the flaw of the way they've designed the scoring system. And the thing I like about escalation is, unless you know those levels and you've put in the time to really understand how they work, you're probably not going to have the best ways of approaching some of those assassinations. And I've put a lot of time into a lot of those. I realised the other day I've assassinated 1,000 people in that Hitman game. 1,000 executions. And I think 1,000 of those were melee executions too, which is kind of crazy when you think about it. Because I didn't realise I'd put that much time into the game. I know I'd played it a little bit, but I wouldn't have told you that I've assassinated 1,000 people. Because I just don't feel like I have. But that's what the stats say on my my dashboard. But it's fun getting those scores and feeling like you're scoring and having something to compete with where you can beat it. And it always brings me back to Diddy Kong Racing. Because Diddy Kong Racing was a game where one of my buddy's dads set some amazing times on a lot of the stages. And he did it with Tip-Top, or TikTok. What was the fucking chicken called? That cheating chicken. There was a secret character who was a rooster. and he was faster than everybody else. He had like the best top speed in the game, and he was really fast. He wasn't whiz-pig fast because he's a fucking cheater, but he was fast. So not only had he done really good times where he was drifting and he was getting really good lines and it was super squeezed and practiced, but he was also using the fastest character in the game. And beating his times were incredibly difficult to do, but it was fun to try. And I love chasing, you know, that victory. I find that to be really fun. I don't like racing games as much anymore because they moved away from arcadey ones and they moved into simulation, and I was always more of like a Diddy Kong Racing and a Beetle Adventure Racing and, you know, a Demolition Derby kind of guy. But there's something to be said about a scoring system that has you coming back for more, and I think Gears of Wars could be fun, but they do a lot of things that kind of reduce the fun of it. Oh, by the way here, if you stand in a specific position, you can get the turrets to shoot at the Big Daddy. They don't do the best job, but if you shoot him now, you can get him distracted and take some of the heat off of the turret, which can be quite useful to dealing damage. So I'm just going to use myself as a human target and get the turret to deal damage. I just heard a splicer, which is not good. You don't want to fight a Big Daddy with a splicer with you. It's bad news. This Big Daddy doesn't have a little sister though, so there's no point in killing him. But a couple of things that Gears does wrong, I think. There should be benefits for doing certain things, I think. Like, I think you should get more of a bonus for headshots. I think you should get more of a bonus for executions than you do. I don't think the game should reset your modifier between levels because it kills your momentum. The whole point in scoring should be getting to the highest modifier for score and then keeping it. And keeping it should be skill dependent. Whereas it seems like all you have to do is not die. If you get downed, you lose your modifier. If you get killed, you lose a ton of modifier. So from that point onwards, it would be nice if there was a guaranteed way to score. Like, the first thing I would like is, can I turn my fucking team off? Because all they're doing is stealing points. Secondly, it would be nice if there was a maximum amount of score you can do. Like, if you could down a locust and then get a headshot with the snub or something while he's down, and that's the maximum amount of points you can do. Or, you know, down a locust, down another locust, get them to crawl together, and then kill them both with an explosion or something, with a boom shot or with a grenade. Some way of arbitrarily scoring really high, and that's how you had to play. Because I like scoring systems where you have to figure out the best way to get points. I think that's fun. And Hitman doesn't afford you that luxury. It just doesn't, because unfortunately you have to tick all the boxes and then do it really quick. Then you can't do it really quick if you're ticking all the boxes and you're doing it, you know, in the way that it should be rewarded. Like, I think if you don't knock anybody out, you should get a bonus of 100,000 points or 150,000 points. You should get enough to completely mitigate what people get with that time bonus. And I think the time bonus should be nominal. I really do. I don't think it should be as big as it is. Like, you can do a level in 2 minutes and get 80,000 points from time bonus. 80,000 points. Bearing in mind, never being spotted is 20k. And that's doing the entire thing without ever being spotted yet. Doing it quickly, 70k. Doesn't make sense. Doesn't add up. And they need to put in a penalty for knocking dudes out. Straight up. They really should. And it's funny because in the escalation maps, when the game escalates, it punishes you for pacifying anybody but the subject. That's an awesome thing. And there's a lot of really cool modifiers in the escalation maps that you can't do on your contracts. I would make the most fucking devilish contracts that only the good players could do, because I would put shit like that in. I'm not a big fan of there's landmines suddenly that none of the enemies set off but you do, because that's just dumb as shit. But some of the other ones, really interesting. People are able to see through your disguise. I would have everybody who seeing through your disguise, so it makes disguises pointless, so you have to do suit only. And then you realise how tough that game can be when you're not running around looking like everyone else. Because that's another thing about Hitman. You watch those suit-only silent assassins and they don't really look like much because you don't understand just how tricky it can be to do the suit stuff. And don't get me wrong, I don't think this most recent Hitman's very difficult to do suit-only on. I think it was way harder in Absolution. And in Blood Money it was tricky too. It was really tricky, especially on Professional. This new game, the easiest one that I've played to do it on. But it's the easiest because it works the best. And that's, you know, one of the things with Hitman. Try doing suit-only silent assassins on Hitman 2. It's a fucking nightmare. That game's a nightmare just to knock dudes out. Like, really, really tricky stuff. Hitman 1 is even worse. I can't imagine going back to those games. I'd really want to kill myself, because it's just... There are things we forget about games. And there are things that should stay forgotten, I really think. Banjo-Kazooie's camera is something I wish I could forget now. Because it just isn't good. It's good for the day, and it's good at certain things, but when it starts moving, and you're not moving it, and you're moving... The last thing you want when you're moving on a precarious ledge is for the camera to go, what about this angle? Like, no, dude. I'm moving. You just changed my compass while I'm moving. North becomes south, you dickhead. I'm going to fall off. Oh, this is a trap as well. 2 splicers are going to fall from the ceiling on fire. So put them out of their misery. Interesting. Interesting. How did she survive that? I wonder. Does being on fire boost your defense? That'd be weird. Was it not the sweet spot? Did she just have a really good chin on her? Is she a victim of domestic abuse? Is she Mike Tyson's wife? Ex-wife? I don't know. But she took a telekinesis. A touche, Spider Splicer. Touche. But Bioshock. You might be wondering when Bioshock Infinite's coming. It's probably going to be delayed a little bit, guys, because Gears comes out tonight, and I still don't have any information on whether or not I can get it early. I should probably check after this video if that's going to be the case. I wish I could. I don't want to drop $100, but it looks like I'm going to have to. And I really don't want to. I'm so fucking tight. I'm so tight. It's ridiculous. I have just recently been paid by YouTube, though, so I can afford it, which is awesome. Doesn't feel as bad when it comes out of your wage, I don't think. Oh, it's... like... I sound so ungrateful, don't I? I really do. I don't mean to, guys. I truly don't. It's just, it's hard to get excited about a game when I really don't want it to be a thing. Like, I would be so much more excited if they'd have announced something different. You know, if this was a new third-person shooter, God, I'd be so excited, because that's what we need. We need Gears of this generation. We really do. And I say this a lot. Like, where's Bioshock of this generation? You know, where is this narrative, you know, technologically interesting and awesome atmospheric, story-driven first-person shooter experience? Where is that of this generation? Is it Killzone Shadows Fall? I don't think so. Like, it's none of the bullshit sequels that we've got a million of. Where is this game? It doesn't exist yet. What the hell is Starbreeze doing, man? I want them to do something good. We've just seen that Machine Games can make really fun games. What is Starbreeze doing? They must be making something. I hope they're doing something good. I think they are, and I think I was excited, but I forgot what it is. Like, all these devs that I'm really stoked for. Like, what is Remedy up to? Please be up to something that's not Alan fucking Wake. Because I love Alan Wake, but I don't really need a sequel. I want them to go back to their old glory, dude. I want I want a game that's awesome and fun and challenging. You know, I want Max Payne 1 again. I really should cover Max Payne. I think I'm going to do a no damage run of Max Payne on Dead on Arrival. Because you can save anywhere in that game, I'm going to save after every single fight, but it could be fucking awesome. And Max Payne has adaptive difficulty as well, and it was doing it before a lot of games. Which means you get less painkillers, you know, the enemies might take a few more hits. But I love that game. I really do. It might not have aged the best, so I wonder if there's any cool mods that can update the visuals, maybe, make it look a bit better. But the shooting in that game is still really fun. But here is Sander. He doesn't seem to be caring about it, he just got drenched. And his knee does really weird things if you look at them from the side. His knees, like, stick out. Look at him. He's clipping on me. See his knees when he puts them forward? The rigging on them's not the best. It's just me doing stupid shit. But he's really happy that we've made his... Look at the bald patch as well, scrub. What's he doing? But that's the end of his masterpiece. And you have a choice now, guys. If you're going for the weapon upgrades, you do not want to kill Sander Cohen, because if you kill him, you can't get in his house. But if you want the achievement for taking a photo of his dead body, you can do it here, or you can wait till later on once you've been in his room. But the only way to get into his muse, or into this treasure thing over here, is to kill him. And he's a Houdini splicer. So the best way to kill him is to shoot him in the head with a crossbow. And it'll put him down instantly. I have a messy fight with Sander because I didn't realise you could kill him, I'd forgot. But there is Medical Expert 2. If you miss any of these plasmids, I do think that they populate them in the shop. And do you see the picture of that octopus? Do you think that that was one of the things that they carried over into Infinite and it became that Vigor? Because it looks a lot like the Vigor, doesn't it? That one where he gets those awful suckers on his hand. But there's me shooting him and initiating the fight. He gets some backup, but it's not too bad. So save your game. Put on your crossbow. Oh, I'm going to freeze him with the napalm thrower, the liquid nitrogen function. And then I'm going to shoot him with the crossbow. There we go. So they're nice and frozen. Oh no, I'm going to grenade him? Interesting. Interesting choice. I think I just blew up my own buddy. There's the Houdini attacks. We've seen it all before. He's behind you, Chris. There he is. Crossbow the head, Chris. Do it! Don't do this. There you go. There you go. End of the fight. There goes Sander Cohen. And that's a strategy you can do for the rest of the game now, guys, if you've got nitrogen. Freeze the enemy, headshot it, free kill. You do not get many drops, though, when you do it, so be aware of that. But there's the picture of Sander. That is an achievement. The only thing left to do is to go back to the bathysphere and then make your way to Hephaestus, which... Hephaestus is a pretty tricky area. There's a lot of big daddies, a lot of interesting fights, but it's also pretty short. It's just as short as Fort Frolic, so it's maybe a good hour, maybe a bit less, and then the game really starts to speed up. We kill Ryan, we go through, you know, the Apollo, we go through Atlas, all that good stuff. We become a big daddy, and then we're at the end of the game. But tomorrow, you're probably going to start seeing some Gears of War, so you're not going to have too much Bioshock, although I'm going to try and upload it with Gears, but Gears is definitely a priority, so... I apologise I've got a lot of things running at the same time, guys, but life sometimes gets in the way, and there are certain things that have to come first, and as much as I would love to prioritise talking to myself in a room like an antisocial bastard, there are social functions that demand my attention. But run around, pick up all the healing that you can, replenish everything in the shops, pick up the ammunition, do whatever it is that your heart screams that needs to be done before leaving, and make your excuses and leave. So, let's get back to the... Ooh, there's also an achievement and a trophy for getting a jackpot on the machines. You want to save before you do it with a full wallet. It's 100% RNG. It's an absolute nightmare. You might get it on your first spin. It might take 1,000 spins. Just, you know, live calmly in the knowledge that it's nowhere near as bad as Final Fantasy X 13-2, where you had to do that fucking Chocobo Land bullshit gambling thing. That was the worst thing ever, dude. That took weeks. Ugh. Why do they put stupid shit like that in games? I don't know. I don't know. But thank you for watching, and you take care now.